Hey Feasters, welcome to episode 234, a month into 2019. How are your goals, your habits for your business working out for you? Are they sticking? If not, I want to share with you 2 things you can do to make them stick. Welcome to the Ask Rezzz podcast. I'm Jason, and I'm here to help you get past those bumps in the road, those struggles, those things that hold you back from building an amazing and profitable freelance business each and every single day. Before I jump into it, I apologize for the sound of my voice. I am getting over a cold and, well, the Ask Rezzz show's got to live on, right? So here we are nonetheless. I might sound a little stuffy, so I do apologize. If anything, why don't you leave me a review? I'd love to hear if it sounds a little funny or not. So anyway, let's just jump into today's thing. How are your goals? Those habits that you set out to do for your business in 2019. Are you still focused on them? Or has the reality of 2019 and your life in general pushed them aside? And maybe you're not as focused as you were 3-4 weeks ago. Before I share with you some ways to make your business habits stick, I want to share with you something that happened to me the other day that rarely happens when I read a book, and that's immediate impact. One of my big things for 2019 is to become a reader. As someone who much rather watch a movie than read a book, this isn't easy. As someone who has pretty much went through school reading Cliff Notes and Monarch Notes, well, again, becoming a reader is not easy. But as a father, though, I want to read more so that my kids see me reading and not sitting in front of a screen all the time. As a husband, my wife loves to read, and it would be cool to read the same book and have a discussion about it. As a business owner, reading and learning from others and being able to form my own ideas from things that I do read will help me grow and help the business grow as well. So the first book I read this year was Atomic Habits by James Clear. Outstanding book for so many reasons, and I'll explain 2 here in a minute. If you haven't yet read that book, go check it out. I'll link it up in the show notes, but it's an awesome book. The reason I read this book first, though, was because I actually wanted to read it to help understand the why and how of better habits, not just for myself, but so that I could help create better habits for my children too. What I didn't expect to happen was that on Sunday, January 27th, something like clicked. I went downstairs around 6:30 a.m., put the kettle on to boil some water for my coffee, then went ahead and made myself that cup of coffee and pulled out my wife's Kindle and started to read. Why my wife's Kindle? Well, again, I'm not a reader, so I don't have a Kindle. But I was up at 6:30 on a Sunday because I was sick, as you can probably tell from my voice. And my sinuses were throbbing, but they were hurting so bad that I couldn't lay down anymore. And quite honestly, it hurt to even move my eyes. I even said to myself coming down the stairs that I'm just going to skip reading this morning. So what gives? Why did I read? Well, that brings me to the first thing that I want to share with you to make your habits stick. What James talks about in the book is to relate your habits to the type of person that you want to be. Notice how earlier I said that I want to become a reader, not that I want to read more. Well, I created an environment, a system of habits in the morning that stack upon each other that form identity-based habits. Once I pour my cup of coffee in the morning, it's now become automatic in a sense that I sit and read my book until that first cup is done. I've created this environment in the morning that sets up and leads me to the act of reading. I read in the morning because for me, any other time, and reading tends me to put me to sleep. I use the cup of coffee as a timer of sorts so that I don't feel obligated to read a chapter or a number of pages or some other thing that could be varying. It's a set of cues and pieces of the environment that have allowed me to become a reader because each and every single day since January 1, I've read. Surprising to me also is this idea of habit stacking. This is the second thing that I want you to think about. The cup of coffee, morning time, and even what I do after I read are all these tiny elements, these tiny habits that I've created that surround the idea of me becoming a reader that has allowed me to actually become one. What I do each and every day after I read is I go make another cup of coffee and then mark it down in my bullet journal that I read today. The simple act of accountability, that tracking the progress, has allowed me to get that small win, the satisfaction of another day that I can now put on the tracker as me becoming a reader. I'm floored simply because of the small changes that I've made to my habits, so much so that I'm beginning to look at my business in the very same way. In fact, as I do analyze my business with these eyes, I've already done a few things over the years to have the business be what I want it to be. So ask yourself, what do you want the business to be? What do you want your identity to be? What sort of small, impactful habits can you create to become that identity? How can you create an environment so that it guides your good habits and forces you to avoid the bad ones? So, case in point, do you want clients to respect you? If you are looking for clients to respect your time away from your business hours, your cue or environmental factor should be then to shut off your email notifications after business hours. Don't look at email first thing in the morning. Give it a couple hours before you look at it so that then you can do the important things of your business first. The quick win is go ahead and mark it off in your calendar that you did just that. Here's another example. Want clients to pay you what you want? Set the price and don't waver from it. Your cue or environmental factors, well, that's pretty easy here. If you start to have a conversation with someone that budget is going to be an issue, then change the conversation from you being their vendor into a referral for someone else. The quick win here is celebrate passing on that project because it was not right for what you want to do. Go ahead and mark that off in your calendar. The final example I want to share with you is, do you want to get out from subcontracting work and managing your own clients? Well, your cue or environmental factor here is immediately after lunch, go have a conversation today, whether that's email or phone, with some potential client. Don't think of it as selling or anything of that nature. Just add value with the conversation. Your quick win is, again, go ahead and mark it off in your calendar that you did so. Using your environment to help cue the action that you actually need to take for that tiny little habit to stick will allow you to become that person. It will allow you to become the business that you want to run. It will also allow you to see and make those habits stick. If you have a question, ask Rezzz. That's me. Find me on Twitter @Rezzz or head on over to my website, Rezzz.com. When you're there, ping me. Let me know what tiny little habits you've created so that you can get your habits to stick and move your business forward. Till next time, it's your time to live in the feast.